All right, so we got here a 2008 Toyota RAV4. The O2 sensor is bad, so we're gonna go ahead and change it. Now this car is kind of weird, but I already scanned it before. I already know it's the O2 sensor, but we have a check engine light because of the O2 sensor. And when you turn the car on, for some reason, you'll have the traction control light that turns on and the VSC light as well. It's just some weird voltage stuff. Not sure if other cars do it as well, but this one does it. I reset it before, and then all three of those lights came off. And then when I scan it, it's the O2 sensor. So we're gonna get our scan tool here. All right, so I scanned it already, and I'm getting an O2 sensor error. Low circuit pretty much means it's broken, or maybe it's disconnected. Who knows? Make sure you check if it's disconnected before you go and buy one. So we're gonna go ahead and change that. So cars, when they come to O2 sensors, they have like what's called bank 1 sensor 1, bank 2 sensor 2, and so on. Bank 1 sensor 1 and 2, bank 2 sensor 1 and 2. This one is pretty easy. So it's a V4, so it only has 2 sensors. So it only has bank 1 sensor 1 or 2. So let me show you guys right here. So if you can see right in there, the little sensor with the wires right there, that's again, it's bank 1. There's only bank 1 in this car, but that's sensor 1. And then for sensor 2, if you look back here, let me get a little bit closer. You can kind of see it right there. So straight ahead, you guys can see the other sensor is right there into the exhaust pipe. You can see it through there, or if you go through the passenger side. Sorry about this. You can see it. Lost it. Oh, right there. So you can see that it's right there. So you can reach it either way. I recommend leaving the car off when you do this, because it depends how comfortable you are. But I can actually, if I reach over through here to the top of the engine, I can actually follow it and I can feel the sensor, and there it is. So it's right there. So I can do it through there, through the top of the engine here, or through the bottom. I'm going to do it through the bottom because it's a little bit easier. So let me show you guys. So turn off the ignition here. So we got the all new O2 sensor here. You can go with any brand. Try to get name brands like Bosch or Denso, or even straight from the Toyota dealer. I went with Bosch because I like Bosch. I'm a German guy, so everything I use is Bosch, and it works great for other vehicles as well. But the sensors, they all have the same size right here to remove it. So they actually make a oxygen sensor removal tool, as this right here. Kind of have like a little cutting opening here, so you can put through the wire there, and then it's a 3/8 wrench there. If you wanted the socket or the open and close wrench, it's going to be a 22 millimeter. But I like this because it's easy with this. So what we're going to do, we're going to make a little extension here. So I got my thing. I got my extensions right here, my 3/8 extensions. And then I have some little ones as well. All right. So let me see how I can reach to get a good angle. All right, so I was able to make my extension here with just those 2 long drives there, and I was able to put on the O2 sensor right there. So some cars it depends, but if it was a top one, it'll be easier. But this one's a little bit more confined there. So it's good to have this oxygen sensor removal tool. You can get in there easily instead of trying to get an open and ended wrench there and stuff like that. So we got it lined up here. Put a light right here. All right, so once you get it nice and snug in there all the way at the end, then you want to turn. I'm going to pause this real quick so I can do it with 2 hands, because you kind of want to make sure you turn it evenly and hold both hands. And you don't want the wrench, the socket, to be like lopsided. It needs to fit on there perfectly as you can get it, because if not, you can strip the head of it and it'll be hard to remove. All right, everybody. So It was pretty tight because it's been there for since the car was made apparently. But I ended up taking off the wheel because I tried to remove the sensor, but it wasn't as flush the wrench. I wasn't able to really get it. But what I did also is I tried to go from the top, but it's really not that much space. So I did it from the bottom. So I took off the wheel. So I got a few extensions here. So what I did is I made sure it was nice and flush. I put the extension in the wrench here, and then I just put a breaker bar right here. And with the breaker bar, I was able to remove it there. So that was good. So just be careful when you're doing that. You don't hurt yourself. Get the breaker bar nice and tight, and then stay away from this as much as you can, just so you don't hurt your hand. Because when it gets loose, it's gonna be like a hard loose. It's gonna be like a snap, but it means it just ended up coming off, and that's what happened. And it actually did come off. And I was able to put my hand in, just remove with my hand. So now the sensor's right there. You guys can see it right there. So if I go and I reach over it, it's nice and loose. So then what I can do is I can just start spinning it off. Right there. Keep spinning it. Of course, it's going to spin like this because of the wire, but if you want to, so if you want to just reach over up in there, just follow the plug and then unplug it. Once you do that, just feel around in there, just take a look in there. You unplug it here, and then go ahead and spin the sensor. That's it. Definitely the original there, you can tell. It's pretty burnt up, and it's never been removed. Done with that. So I'm gonna put the new one in. Now it's gonna be much easier to put in because it's already off. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Take off the cap here. Just be careful because it comes with some grease in there. And just put it in the hole again. Make sure you get it nice and even and spin it around. Make sure it gets nice and smooth. If it gets tight without you getting to the end, then it's not on right. So once it's like that, nice and tight, then we're gonna go. The plug gets back in. In a second while I reach over. Where are you? Here's the plug. Just line it up with the other one. Sorry, it's kind of dark in there. Hang on a second. All right, guys. So then I ended up putting it in all the way in with my hand. And then I plugged in the wire. If you want, you can put it all the way in first, get it nice and tight, and then put the wire. Because sometimes the wire is in the way or it moves the thing back. So then once I put it back in here, I can go ahead and tighten it. Make sure the oxygen sensor tool is nice and tight. And then it doesn't have to be crazy tight. As long as you can, it feels pretty tight. That's good because it's not gonna come off, and then with the heat, it's gonna get hard again. So, all right, awesome. So that's done there. Looks good. And the O2 sensor there. All right. So a lot of these times with these kind of sensors and stuff, I usually don't reset the light. I usually just turn the car on and run it because for the most part, once the car reads it, it'll either turn off the lights to check on your light on its own or when you start driving a little bit. So let's turn it on and see what happens. What I can do is let me plug this back in. I'm just curious. Read it again. Awesome. So it still has this code, of course. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drive it a little bit. I'm just gonna drive it around the block and see if it turns off, or maybe a little bit more, maybe for like 5 or 10 minutes. I'm gonna drive it around and see, and if the light turns off on its own, then great, because I like to let the computer run its course and see that everything's been fixed. And then that way it resets, and then it'll be ready for inspection, because this one's due at the end of the month in July. So, but after 10 minutes, if I drive it, it doesn't turn off, I'm just gonna plug the OBD2 reader again and see if it shows error, and if it does, I'm just gonna reset it, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, so it's pretty easy. You just got to remove a few things. It's very accessible. It's been there for a long time, so it's hard to remove the sensor. Take off the wheel is easier, and don't forget to always reinforce the car. Put a jack stand and something underneath in case the jack gives out. That wouldn't be very good. But again, guys, this is the O2 sensor, Bank 1 Sensor 2 for 2008 Toyota RAV4. Again, you can get any brand. Try to get name brands. Again, Denso, Bosch is good, or just go straight to Toyota. But that's it. If you have any questions or anything, let me know down below. Sorry about the background noise. It's a weekend and people are just kind of crazy out here. But if you have any questions, put them down below. And if you have a 2008 Toyota RAV4 4-cylinder, the 6-cylinder might be a little bit different, but the 4-cylinder, it's a piece of cake. I'll put down the description below. All right, guys, thanks for tuning. Hit that subscribe button and that notification bell and thumbs up. Thanks. See you all next video.